Head Right. Oh yeah, what's up, Head Right homies? Welcome to the Zo Loft Head Right Hangout. Hey, I hope y'all's week is off to a groovy start, man. Since it ought to be, since we just wrapped up with the Zo Loft, and this is kind of like the after party of the Zo Loft, of the Zopium Den.
Albert's
sorry.
back, Jay's back, Craig's
Right on.
back.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Hey, thank you guys for tuning back. And like I said, this is like the after party of the after party for the Zopium Den. So
Bruce Ducky's back. Well,
hey,
he's here. He wasn't at the Bible study.
The whole gang-a-lang. That means that. I hope that doesn't mean something like dirty in another language or something like that. Sound like it does. Okay, folks, what are we going to try to get to today? Let's see. Pull up my articles here. We got Democrats shut down Gambit, Obamacare subsidies or bust. And I guess that's coming from America First Report. Tim Kaine, remember that guy? Tim Kaine, wasn't he that Fruit Loop who wanted to give God fruit instead of like meat, and went and killed it? Oh no, that's a different Kaine. They're all evil. If you got a name like Kaine, you probably. I'm sorry.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, I don't mean to stereotype people named Kaine or anything like that. But this guy, Tim Kaine, yeah, he evil. Okay, so and then we got NIH promises to end 17 research projects using aborted human fetal tissue. Okay. This sounds like why do I have a feeling that this isn't the first time they probably, made that claim? Oh yeah, we'll stop. I promise this time. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it tomorrow. I've learned my lesson.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. Okay.
We got good people in there this time who mean it.
All right. Let's see. And then we got Democrat Senator blasts FBI director for requiring single pull-up for women because women have physiological differences. What? Like what? Do they have smaller shoulders?
Right.
I don't know. What possibly makes them so much different where they can't do a pull-up?
Right.
Is it like what muscle group would be, would be so different in that area? The trapezius, would it be the lateral delts or something like that? What could be so different as to why they can't do those pull-ups? Anyway.
Shame.
Yeah. And of course to start things off with, Tyler Perry, he likes booty bombing with dudes. Anyway, I don't know if that's
No.
Surprise! Hey, big news! Tyler Perry. Anyway, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes, we don't know that for sure. We don't know that for sure.
I was very surprised to see that he had a partner that was a female, though.
Yes, yeah. I think that's called a beard. But hey, maybe that's his woman.
Was.
Oh, was.
2020 they broke up, but they had a son together.
Ah, he's a beard too. Son's beard. Allegedly. Allegedly, yes.
My late husband said, I made it back, not like I have options, I'm stuck in the hospital. It is better than hospital cable.
I would like to think that, hanging out with us might be better than being in the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Or make the hospital stay better.
Right? At least here in the Zo Loft, we ain't gonna try to stick nothing in you.
That's right.
Make you turn your head and cough, whichever. So.
I don't think that's why he's in the hospital.
Yeah. That's not why you're going to. Yes, it is. That's why you just want me to go to the hospital because they're not for that. Whatever. Okay, let's start with this one. Democrats shut down Gambit, Obamacare. Man, it's 2025, man. How is Obamacare still a thing?
I know. You know how?
I know how.
Under Trump, we had the House and the Senate and the presidency, and we did nothing. Didn't even touch it.
I don't want to touch it. I don't.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see, what do we got here? We got, I like the picture of Chuck Schumer.
He just ate his non-kosher hamburger.
Right. Let's see. So with federal funding set to lapse on September 30th. Damn, okay.
Basically in 15 days.
Yeah, I have questions. Federal funding set to lapse on September 30th. Congressional Democrats have drawn a stark line in the sand. Ooh, I was gonna say I'm so scared, but Democrats, they just do dirty stuff. So it's always a point to be ready for them to do some ill stuff. Right?
Yeah, because we're talking about Democrats. But right. Obama is the only one we don't have to worry about with his lines in the sand, remember? He just keeps drawing new lines. Right?
Yeah, like with that cartoon with Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam. I dare you cross this line. Now this one. Now this one. Now this one. But of course, Bugs Bunny had a plan, though.
Yes.
Right?
Are you saying he's smarter than the former president?
Bugs Bunny?
Yes.
Definitely. Right? That's right. And he I think Bugs Bunny dressed up like a woman better than Michelle Obama does. Sorry. Allegedly. Is
that the word of the night?
Allegedly. Yeah, we're probably going to use that word a lot. And I think Bugs Bunny also dressed up like a woman better than Tyler Perry did. And the thing about Bugs Bunny, because you have people try to make the case that even transgenderism was going on in Bugs Bunny's day.
Oh yeah.
Bugs Bunny did that to as a point of ridicule.
That's true.
It wasn't a point of it was absurd. That was the point of it. And it made an absurdity out of Elmer Fudd or whoever he was clowning with that sort of stuff. It wasn't promoting transgenderism. It was a point for absurdity. But anyway, Chuck Schumer. So, congressional Democrats have drawn a stark line in the sand, refusing to back any stopgap. When it comes to with Democrats in the context of this, that just sounds dirty. Refusing to, it sounds dirty. Refusing to back. It makes me think of that dude and them two dudes in the Senate chamber. Stop gapping. Anyway, spending measure.
Every time you mention that, it puts that video. It's just stained in my memory now. Even though it was blurred out, I know what I'm seeing.
Admittedly, why should I even have to admit that? I was just gonna say I never saw the video, but when you go to the article, they have the picture.
Well, maybe that's what I'm remembering.
And that's all I did.
Picture.
It's a.
See, it's so graphic in my mind that I guess I was thinking we saw the video, but we didn't.
And the dude talking about he go to the homeless areas. I'd let them hit it. Yeah, I totally let them hit it. So anyway,
my goodness.
Stop gapping. So spending measure, unless Republicans agree to pump. I think there's a lot of homoerotic innuendo. We got stop gapping and pumping. I feel like they're trying to, they're grooming us. This article we're being groomed. I don't like it. I don't like it. Into the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Hey, anybody who's been hanging with us for a while, man, I've been saying, I never understood this whole Affordable Care Act thing. Because what the crap is affordable about it? Anything, if you got to get financial assistance, if you're gonna get fined because you don't do it, when the state tells you to do it and all that sort of stuff, and when the healthcare quality has gone down but the price has gone up,
doubled, tripled.
Come on now, what the crap is affordable? But and this thing is like the funding set to lapse. I mean. You mean we still have funding for this?
Right.
Anyway, funding for this crap.
Yeah.
And how this is still an issue is just like, dude, it's kind of disappointing. I know dealing with this stuff is a lot easier said than done, but when you got these people out there huffing and puffing and talking about what they're going to do, hold people's feet to the fire and all that sort of stuff, you ain't done nothing. How this is still going on, man? Whatever. So, led by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, the party's stance risks plunging the government into another disruptive shutdown, all to prop up a program conservatives have long criticized as a bloated, inefficient expansion of federal overreach. The demand centers on two flashpoints: extending enhanced ACA insurance tax credits, which help cap premium hikes during the pandemic, but are due to expire at year's end, and rolling back nearly $1 trillion in Medicaid. Right on, I guess, for, you know, a little something for the seniors, a little $1 trillion something.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. $1 trillion, man. If you got $1 trillion and stuff like that, how is it that Democrats are able to effectively scare seniors into thinking they're gonna lose this stuff? You're gonna lose your Medicaid, and you're gonna lose.
Seniors on Medicare. Medicaid is the state-run health care.
I'll bet the revenue pool for all that is all the same.
It is.
It's
our paychecks.
Yeah, is it? You know what I'm saying?
And the printing press.
The pool for that is it's not like there's different categories. It's all the same.
Yeah.
All right, but forgive me if I got the.
But no, what you're saying is true. They not only have scared the seniors for the past 50 years, saying Republicans are going to take you off Medicare, they scared the poor people with the same thing. They're going to take you off Medicaid.
It's fear.
Yep.
Real, actual fear mongers. They say the same thing about Social Security.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So with your health benefits or your health insurance, this basically this federal HMO is with that and your Social Security, they scare. But dang, man, how they gonna scare people with funding when we're talking like trillions?
Yeah.
You're gonna run out of funding, and for real, man, this is like ghost money as it is. You know, and maybe in a way it's a blessing. It's a blessing somehow that we got this fiat money.
Yeah.
You don't have to have necessarily. We can just print money and don't really have anything. You know what commodity are we really backing up our money with? You know what? I think the only thing really really substantive standing behind our currency is work hours.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's the thing that gives our money value is work hours, really. And I don't even know if the work hours can keep up with how much money was just printed.
Yeah, I doubt it.
You know what I'm saying? But we're talking trillions here, regardless of which. Trillions in this note, in this money that we really don't have stuff to back it up with. How are you gonna scare people and tell people you're gonna run out of Social Security and they're gonna deplete your Social Security and your Medicare and your Medicaid? All that's gonna be depleted. But we're talking about trillions of dollars here.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you made me think. You've proposed that before, that the only thing really backing our dollar anymore is work hours, like our work. But then I was thinking, well, gee, a lot of those work hours are federal government jobs, so that kind of self-cancels.
It self-cancels because those jobs, the Democrats we've created more jobs. Those jobs cost money. Y'all know.
Yep.
It costs money. But I guess as people are, bragging now, the job market is, unemployment is low and there's more women out there in the workforce than there's ever been and whatever. But
which they say is a good thing. The Republicans say that's a good thing.
I know, right?
Including the president.
Yeah, that's a good thing, isn't it? I mean, it's fine if women want to go to work. I don't think it's a lot of what wanting. It's feeling like you have to make those.
Yeah.
But hey, at least the jobs are available for both. The man and wife to go out there and work, and that's a sign of a good economy. And I side with the opinion of a good economy is basically the guy is the only one who needs to go out to work.
Yeah.
The husband goes to work.
Sustain the household. Yeah.
And and if the woman wants to work, it's fine. But it's not like she has to.
Yeah.
People are having to do that to make ends meet. I think that kind of sucks. So anyway, I keep rabbit trailing. Sorry. So with these changes, Democrats warn of skyrocketing premiums and widespread coverage losses.
Which we already have.
Yeah, which we already have, and they get away with saying this stuff. They're so effective. With the fear mongering to do this. They've made people afraid of monopolies and have fear mongered people into basically a state monopoly. Mm-hmm. That's basically what the Democrats have herded people into. If they're, dang, man, how long? I wish, man. Well, Lord, if you're willing, I would love to put these things in other meaning, because these people, people don't get the rationale, they don't get the reasoning, they don't get the real world examples, or at least they pick and choose them.
Right.
They like to go to, they use the examples of, well, look at Canada and look at how it is in Europe, and they have, they have the their state model of healthcare and stuff like that, and it works out great for them. It doesn't matter that it's like you could tell them, the logistics of how people are taxed in order to get it.
Yeah.
What kind of expenditures that they have and what kind of expenditures that they don't. Like, say, for instance, Canada, they don't have the same expenditures that we do.
Yeah, exactly.
And even Canada, even Canadians, y'all, even a lot of Canadians come to America to get to get their health care.
Yeah. Remember us where we used to live in California? They were called the snowbirds, and they were all coming down from Canada to get their procedures and surgeries done.
Sure enough.
Yep.
Yeah. So while people are bragging about, they're bragging about Canadian healthcare while Canadians are just passing them by. Where you off to? We're off to get some treatment.
Yeah.
That we don't have to wait for. And even I think, oh man, this was a while ago. But I remember. Seemed like the head of state, of Canada even had to tell Americans, can y'all please stop coming up here and depleting our medical industry?
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Because they come up there to jump in front.
Yeah.
It's like, dang. It's like, but the thing is, I don't know, the grass is always greener somehow. And who would most likely be going up to Canada to do that? There's going to be a bunch of liberals.
Absolutely.
They want to go up there and take advantage of their, state,
Yeah. All the liberal
healthcare.
states border Canada anyway.
Yeah, they're the ones who do it. And while Canadians are like passing them by on the road, saying, hey, we're going to take advantage of your healthcare system. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, for real, man, if Democrats were really so concerned about people being able to afford these premiums, have better coverage and things like that, you'd allow the industries to compete across state lines. But they don't want to allow that.
Ridiculous.
They've told people that these insurance companies just want to have a monopoly, and you have to be dependent on one big insurance agency. And all the while, what the Democrats have been trying to herd people into is their monopoly.
Yeah.
That's what it was the whole time. And because that means control. And I think it's and I know it sounds so cliche, don't it? They just want control. They just want control. It sounds freaking cliche, even though it's true. But you got to ask, control what? What is it? What is it? I mean, they are control freaks. They want to, but really, at the end of the day, what is it that you actually want to control? What do you want to control so bad? I think it's interesting, that Democrats, they want to call us, Nazis and Hitlerian and all that sort of stuff. But, the healthcare system was one of those big things that Hitler used, to control his people. Healthcare, education.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the Democrats say they're on the same frequency. But, Democrats, they definitely want this to be a democracy. For what? Basically, they want America to be a democracy. They hate that we're a republic. They hate it. They want us to be a democracy for the purpose of the people voting the elites' power. You're going to have this collectivist oligarchy that will enjoy, the fruits of the labor of the people, pandering to what has become like, an overall proletariat.
Yeah.
And, and as they ration to them and how they keep these people in line and satisfied is somehow being able to blame capitalism for how much they're suffering.
Yep.
And once again, y'all, that's why I say I don't think we ever really have to worry about becoming socialist, officially socialist, because Democrats need to be able to say that we're not socialist so they can blame capitalism for all the crap that people are feeling. when it ain't capitalism's fault at all. It's more of the socialist model that's doing it.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's what we've really had. And that turns, as far as health, they want to think that, these capitalists just want, privatized healthcare because of their greed and all that sort of stuff. It's like, man, y'all are suckers. You got it totally backwards. Capitalism is the thing that would make it more affordable. Capitalism because you'd be able to retain more of your own money.
Yep.
And do with it as as you see fit. And don't get me wrong, because not everybody is wise with what they do with their health, with their own money. We know that. Okay? And that in itself is sad. I think that's probably the worst case against capitalism because people, a lot of times when they have more money, they use the money to do, it helps them to afford to be able to do stupid stuff, more stupid stuff. I think that's probably like the worst thing about capitalism. But in terms of capitalism being used to do nefarious things or, sub rosa transactions and all that sort of stuff, that's not really capitalism.
No.
Capitalism isn't about, this exercise of greed and whatever. Greed is more of instituting covetous models of collectivism that just tells the people that you're not giving enough and you owe more of your fair share and all that sort of stuff. And it makes people start to do crooked things to try to protect their money from the state. Capitalism alleviates that stuff. A capitalistic model where we're able to retain our own money and a free market, the capitalism and free market, they're a complement to each other, but they're not exactly the same thing. But when you have a free market and this commercialism where people are free to compete, well, you're going to see a drop in rates because people are going to compete to have the better quality at the lower price. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that people are given over to the scare tactic of thinking that people are a company is just looking to gouge you. Yes, if they're the ones that's really gouging us, y'all, is the state. The accusers, the collectivist state that the Democrats want. They're the ones doing that, suckering people with and controlling people with fears about their health and how they're going to be able to pay for it. As I've always said, if you really value your health, then you should be willing to pay for it. That's what you do with things of value. It costs money.
Yeah.
Right? Do you value the work of the physician? Well, they deserve to be paid. You pay them. You go through the insurance agency to make sure that they get paid. Pay for that. Instead of making somebody else, what is a single payer system or something like that. Instead of putting that burden on the rest of society where we all have to pitch in for that. And you're assuming that you're getting it for free.
Yeah, I know.
Or at a lower cost or a lower premium, whichever. Mm-hmm. That actually ends up costing everybody more, and it will end up costing you more. That cost is going to be maneuvered to where you're gonna feel it, and you're gonna have a harder time making ends meet.
Absolutely.
All right, but if we had a more, not even a more, if we had a capitalist model, which we don't. Y'all be complaining about capitalism like hers, and we haven't had capitalism, and the liberals be complaining about it. You've never really known it, never really had it. What you've been dealing with is people trying to force us to be more socialist. That's the thing that hurts, And if you want to get into, like I said, you want this stuff to be more affordable, free market. Have a capitalist model, economic model, free market. And have the commercialism, out of the hands of the state, and let the free market go ahead and determine how they want to set their prices and compete for their prices, even if it's across state lines. What were we gonna say?
It should be. Red Fort literally just said what I was going to say. He said they could save hundreds of billions of dollars on healthcare and improve the overall health of the nation by just addressing the obesity crisis. The South is where all the obesity is basically in the country. I've looked at the statistics. It's awful. So to have, how do you call it, like interstate, to be able to compete nationwide for an insurance company to be able to do that, so they're not just in Texas where all of the morbidly obese people are, it's going to cost a lot more. Whereas if they could operate in the whole nation, they'd be able to do better. Yeah. And if you, I have proposed, because the subject comes up frequently, about, oh, I wish we had health care like Canada or like Britain at work. And I'll look at the person and say, first of all, I tell them, would you like 75% of your paycheck to go? And they're like, no. And then secondly, I'm like, well, how about if you take care of yourself? Like, everything hurts because you're morbidly obese. I don't say this in that way to them, but I'm like, if we were to have a single payer system where we're all paying for each other, wouldn't you want people to not eat McDonald's every day and maybe eat better and exercise and move a little so that your neighbor's health isn't costing you all this money? And when you put it to them like that, they're like, huh, yeah, I guess so. Being accountable kind of makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Because you might notice, folks, that when people talk about, like, in Europe, how people are they don't have heart disease and they don't have this and that. Why you think that is? If you're gonna, you see now with y'all, you want us to be you want to go ahead and be a glutton, and you want to do these things that compromise your health, and when you do that, then somebody else has to bear the burden of your poor health choices.
Yeah.
That's just wrong. But like I said, but in the same breath, when people talk about, these other countries, at the same time, they also talk about how they don't have these diseases.
Right.
And it's like, man, that should speak volumes to you. Why don't you follow that model?
Yeah.
Why don't you do the things that actually keep you healthy? Remember, the adage used to be, I think, in the medical industry, heck, the Bible is really the basis of it when you get down to it. The best cure for disease, prevention.
Yep.
There's things that it's like,
absolutely.
I was talking about the other day. It's like there was an episode of, like, remember Three's Company back in the day, the Mr. Furley era. No, yeah, Mr. Furley era. And he's having a problem with his elbow, and he goes to this doctor. I guess a doctor came to visit him or something like that. He goes, "Hey doc, it hurts when I do this. What can I do?" He says, "Stop doing that." So there's things that you should just avoid doing.
Yeah.
Whether and people don't do that. And y'all, in some cases, it's engineered like this, though. I mean, and folks need to understand this too. When you got these things that are accessible, you got Democrats telling us how we need to eat healthy and we need to eat plant-based and eat organic and eat all that sort of stuff. Okay, that's fine. That stuff ain't cheap. If people are put in a position where the food that's accessible to them, just to get some flipping calories in them,
right,
or whatever, empty calories or which, as long as it's some sort of sustenance.
Yeah.
This is what's affordable. This is what's accessible.
And it's what is accessible at work. Like, people can't have these big meals at work that are complicated, where they need silverware. They need something that they can unwrap in the plastic and slam it in their mouth.
That's right. Unwrap it and bite it. That's that's what they want to do. That's what's available. Maybe not so much what they want to do, but that's just what's available.
That's true. It's what's available.
And it's accessible. It's affordable and things like that. We got a system, and it's designed that way. And because of that, it puts people in, where they're going to have inflammation constantly or dealing. And, you got a lot of these people who are dealing with obesity, and Ozempic is like the answer.
Oh, yeah. That is the answer for everybody now.
And people, they may really be trying to lose weight before they give into Ozempic. They're trying all these things, but y'all, the things that's accessible to them is working against them. Even if they're trying to eat something low calorie or low fat, they're duped into thinking that low fat food is the thing that's going to help you lose weight, and it's no. And these are the things, and these things are cheap.
Yep.
They're accessible, and they go get the low fat food, and all the while loading up with carbs.
Yeah.
Which is, it's totally working against them. But it's engineered that way. All right? And so you got to have the pharmaceutical industry. And that's why we do have this kind of quasi-socialist model, right? The healthcare industry isn't owned by the state. Might as well be, though.
Yes.
And the state, I'd even argue that the state is probably more so owned by the healthcare industry than it is.
I would argue that as well.
You know what I'm saying? We got a bad case of cronyism here.
Yep.
And it ain't crony capitalism. It really, there's no such thing. All right, but for some reason people, associate the two, but no. All right, we got cronyism, which is more of a fit of collectivism or socialism, communism, but we don't have the state outright owning the healthcare industry, but there's enough regulations in there, and there's enough taxes and this overreach, the state overreach in there. It almost might as well be.
Yeah. I heard the phrase crony corporatism from an economist the other day.
Okay. Yeah.
That kind of interested me. I was like, I've never really considered that. And
Yeah.
when he explained it, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Oh, definitely.
The corporations are kind of running things
Right.
via the Federal Reserve, so.
Yes. Yeah. Crony corporatism, I think, is definitely, that's legit.
Yeah.
But crony capitalism, I don't think there really is
Absolutely
such thing. Capitalism is capitalism. If it's anything else, it's not capitalism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but all that to say, folks, these people, they want to act like they care about how much people are going to have to pay and premiums and things like that. Y'all, that's relatively an easy fix. But I think y'all know that Democrats really don't want things fixed.
They don't.
Oh, they fix things all right. They fix things all right, but definitely not the kind of fix that really works for the people.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here.
So the whole reason why that's important, this article, is the subsidies, the federal subsidies for the Affordable Care Act are expiring. And then the special super plus subsidies that Biden put on there expiring too. All the subsidies are expiring this month, at the end of this month. So a bunch of people are going to get booted out of the marketplace. They're going to lose their subsidies. They're going to lose their health insurance. And the Democrats are going to point to the Republicans and say, see, they want you dead. And the Republicans are going to be like, no, we don't. And they're going to be their comeback.
And so I guess it'll be to, renew?
Yeah. Since they didn't do anything about it when they had the presidency, the House, and the Senate with Trump back in the day, they didn't do anything. So, now they're kind of forced to. Now, Jay pointed out that the Affordable Care Act doesn't expire, until 2074, but the subsidies, those are expiring this month. So it's going to wreak havoc on America. Everybody I know gets the subsidies, because if you don't get the subsidies, like just for me, remember I told you it's like $700 a month.
Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, so affordable.
So affordable. And once again, Republicans, wouldn't y'all kind of have recourse, have a plan
Right.
to deal with this? Really, what's the plan? If this is going to expire at this time, what you going to do? Are you going to extend them indefinitely?
Adding hundreds of billions back to the deficit, basically.
Yeah. Wow, what's that going to do for the economy? I don't know. Are we going to get... what you going to do about it? What's the plan? As I said at the start of this, how is this still a thing? And y'all, I know it's a lot easier said than done, but when these people go in there and talk about, how they're going to, hold their feet to the fire and they're going to do this and do that and talking tough, and it's what it is, talking loud and saying nothing, doing nothing.
Yep.
Okay, what else we got here? Tim Kaine doubles down on comments about God-given rights. Okay, responds critical. What was his response? This. We already know. It's like, man, we already know why you wrong. You wrong, cuz. But I don't know. How could you follow? How could you decide to still come back to try to talk some more nonsense with this? I got to see what he said. Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat. It's funny how it says DVA. That it sounds like something dirty, like from South Park or whichever. I don't watch that show anymore. But
No.
anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. Has doubled down on his criticism of the idea that people's rights come from God and not the government. He's it's just gonna say right here he's Catholic. Okay. And for some people, like he's like, because I know people who like think that Joe Biden is a real God-fearing man. He's a devout Catholic and stuff like that. And you know what? Yeah, he is. And Kaine is no exception. But because hey, you know it's universal church. I guess you can go in there and believe whatever you want. Let's see. During a U.S. Senate hearing, have drawn backlash from religious and political leaders. Kaine, a Catholic who was the Democratic vice presidential nominee in 2016, wrote an op-ed for Fox News, published on Tuesday, responding to another Fox News op-ed written by Bishop Robert Barron of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Winona-Rochester 2 days earlier. During the Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing last week, Kaine characterized the idea that rights coming from God as extremely troubling. Remember, y'all, it's like I'm telling you, Democrats, they hate that this is a republic because our republic, the rule of law is the rule of God concerning our inalienable rights. You know, that can't be messed with. Democrats hate that. They hate it. So the senator insisted that such an idea is what the Iranian government believes. Ooh, you Iranophobe? You know, so how y'all gonna be all pro-Palestine and stuff like that and then use this?
Right.
You gonna use this as a negative. Man, y'all talk about, man, the cancel culture, y'all cancel out your own ideology. You cancel culture. That's how bad you guys got it. Okay? So calling it a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Sharia. I just say Sharia, it's not Sharia law, it's just Sharia.
Yeah.
All right? Base rule on Sharia and target Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religions. What do you care? All right? Religious minorities because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their creator. Barron wrote that Kaine's remarks, I'm just trying to get through, I'm kind of chomping at the bit here, but you know, are what's truly troubling and urge readers to resist this dangerous rhetoric and celebrate inalienable rights. And its fruit, I would argue, of the increasing marginalization and privatization of it, not outright hostility toward it, organized religion, which is the bedrock of our democracy. Okay, I got problems with what the bishop is saying here right now. Let me go ahead and address this. If not outright hostility toward organized religion, I'm hostile towards organized religion. I don't like organized religion. I don't like it. Right? Not a religious person, not into religion. Freedom of it, yeah. I'm all about freedom of religion. Unfortunately, it's the drawback or the paradox of it is that, yeah, you can have freedom of religion, but religion itself is what oppresses people. You know, it's kind of weird that way. You know, and in organized religion, which is the bedrock of our democracy, we're a republic, dude. Now, we have democratic processes on who we're going to have to go in there and represent us, yeah. But the point of them representing us is to go in and maintain the republic and not let it become something else. Okay, so this person is using the language. If he's talking about organized religion, yeah, organized religion itself is an oppressive faction. All right, religion itself is oppressive. And democracy is oppressive.
Yes.
So you got double oppression here.
Yes.
Right? So you're arguing for us to be a democracy on, and the thing about a bedrock of what, religion? Or doctrines that are built on sand? Yeah, you talk about you really talk about the collapse of our republic, man. So I have concerns about what this bishop is saying.
Yeah.
Barron also posted a video on social media a few days earlier calling Kaine's comments dangerous to our democracy. Now, in response to Barron, okay, here's the response from Kaine. Kaine called the bishop's views deeply disturbing. The senator expressed agreement with the notion of the founding fathers that all people are endowed by the creator. I think it's their creator. Ain't it, folks? It's endowed by their creator. with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. At the same time, he detailed how his experience working alongside Catholic missionaries in the military dictatorship of Honduras taught him that rights are essentially meaningless unless they are protected by law. Kaine, man, there's some stuff to unpack here. All right, so Kaine listed the rights to vote, trial by jury, freedom to press, bear arms, due process, assembly are not to be subject to cruel and unusual punishments as examples of rights explicitly protected in the U.S. Constitution that are not mentioned in the Bible. Man, what book are you? Well, we know you ain't reading the Bible, man. The catechism don't cut it, and you're reading, whatever. You're not reading the scriptures.
In catechism, we didn't read the Bible either.
Yeah, like I said, that's all you're doing. And you want to talk about somebody who's lacking some critical thinking skills, and a person who does not really know how to examine the scope of the law. All right, you late, man. So the Bible or other sacred texts, he cited the legality of slavery until the passage of the 13th. Look, man, in terms of, let me stop right there. Okay, because this should be easy enough to cover, man, and y'all already know where I'm gonna go with this. Hey, Kaine, you saying that this stuff ain't outlined in the Bible? You ain't got to read much further. I mean, you really should read the whole Bible. You really should, which you haven't. Okay, there ain't no way that you can come up and you can say this stuff and claim that you've read the Bible. Maybe you read the Cliff Notes or something, man. But for real, man, to address this stuff, man, just read the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Read the first article. Don't read the flipping placards or the short versions of it. Read what the Word of God actually says when you go into these ordinances. First one, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, the house of slavery. Right there, Kaine, that's telling you that God's first law, within God's first law, okay, you got the article, and you're gonna have these the first article, and you're gonna have the clause, the sections in it. Okay, first of it is I am the Lord your God. This is the absolute truth. It's such a truth of such magnitude. It's basically the law. All right, the law has spoken. I am the Lord your God. This is truth, the utmost truth. And it is a very liberating truth, because lies are oppressive. Lies trap people. Truth sets people free. And truth is a living entity that came in the person of Yeshua HaMashiach. He is the truth. He is our ultimate liberator. But I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, the house of slavery. That's God flat out telling you that it is against the law to oppress people. It is against the law to be oppressed. All right, so where you're saying that the Bible doesn't address slavery, it addresses slavery right there in the first commandment. Enslaving people is stealing their liberty, isn't it? If you force somebody into slavery, you have stolen from them. Well, the 10 Commandments says to not steal, don't it? So the Word of God flat out tells you that if you kidnap a person for yourself or to make a market of them, that's punishable by death. But you're saying that the Bible doesn't address slavery. Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. You might have also missed the abuses. Okay, so you're talking about to not be subject to cruel and unusual punishment, cruelty and stuff like that. You saying that the Bible doesn't address? Are you nuts? I'm sorry, did you not catch the Exodus? How cruel the Egyptians, and God went to war with Egypt personally to let us know, don't be abusing people. But you're saying that the Bible doesn't address these things. You liar.
Yeah.
Ignorant. You ignorant liar at that. So let's back up a little bit, man. Let's see. And what was it that I picked up on? There was a few things, but I probably should have highlighted them or something like that. But it's kind of So Kaine is characterizing the idea that the rights come from God is extremely troubling. So if they don't come from God, man, where are they gonna come from? Now, Kaine, think about it, man. Think about it. What person, okay? What person, Kaine, could write the laws that man, men, and a fallible creature, you have the confidence that a fallible creature could write the laws that would stand the ages, that could be the model for a society to be built on, and thrive and do so. What man could do that? What human being could do that? What body of government could actually do that? And base it on the philosophies of a fallible human being. That's not a good idea, man. You want those rights to come from God. There is one true God, just as it says in the Declaration of Independence. We pledge our lives, I'm having a Joe Biden moment. You know the thing. Our lives, our liberty, our fortunes, our sacred honor. Appealing to the supreme judge of the world. Who you think that is, man? Read the word of God to tell you who the judge of the world is. The Lord himself, the one true God. All right? Where our rights come from. Man, you don't want our rights to be issued by a body of fallible men. It has to be based on something, man. And if you don't have the discernment to realize that the God of the Bible is the one who is the true author of liberty, and liberty does have conditions, it has boundaries. Yes, it does. If you want to keep it, if you want to conserve it, you want to maintain it, okay, you're going to need that. I mean, there ain't no human being that you're going to be able to find that's going to be able to author that, dude. So because here's the thing. It's what people need to understand, like, about America. For those who think that America is the land, it's a free country and to do whatever I want and all that sort of stuff. America is not a free country where you can do whatever you want. What makes America a free country is that people aren't free to do whatever they want to do to you. That's what makes America a free country. But see, Kaine has this idea of what he thinks America should be in this democracy, which can impose their beliefs on other people. They're free as long as you're of the elite class. The peasants and the proletariat, well, they have to deal with whatever the state designs for them. It's not about us Christians wanting to push our faith onto you or anything like that. We're trying to keep y'all up off of us. No means no.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be raped by y'all. No, that's you pervert. No, that's sin. That's evil. That's wicked. Don't be coveting the fruits of my labor. What's mine doesn't belong to you. You're not entitled to it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the right to invade my house and tell me that because I don't accept that my son or daughter is the opposite sex or something like that you have the right to take them.
Right.
Really, so you can have an excuse to take them and traffic them.
Yeah.
Because you Democrats are all about slavery. Okay? It's been the same. They've been pro-slavery since the Confederacy. They're the ones who are making the inroads to us to having this human trafficking problem that we got right now. Because Democrats are all about slavery. Because you're godless. Just like this Kaine is talking about right now. You godless, man. And so you're telling us that these rights don't come from God, they come from the state. All right. And you want to compare us? Man, how are you going to compare Jehovah God to Allah? You're definitely you comparing apples to, I don't know, some kind of not an orange, some kind of fruit that just ain't good for you. Take your pick. It's some kind of fruit that ain't good for you at all. All right. That's not even a right comparison. If Catholics, sorry if I'm stepping on some toes here, Catholicism and Christianity ain't the same thing. But if you as Catholics, a lot of Catholics think that they're Christian. That's whatever. And if you are as Christian as you think you are as being a Catholic, dude, you should know better to make such a comparison. Why would you even use that as an analogy? It don't fit. All right, that's a theocracy of a whole different order. And in America, it doesn't make us a theocracy to recognize that our rights come from God, dude. That doesn't make us a theocracy at all. You know what that kind of thinking is like? That kind of stupid thinking is the same kind of thinking of pro-abortion advocates. Y'all have seen them. A pro-abortion advocate tries to accuse us of being hypocrites because they say things like, well, if you ejaculate and she doesn't become pregnant, that's an abortion because, or like if masturbation is a form of abortion, and things like that is a form of abortion. It's like, dude, that's not even close to what an abortion is, just because the seed hasn't connected. The seed actually has to connect with the egg for starters. If the seed doesn't connect with the egg, then a human being hasn't been conceived. All right, but they don't catch that kind of stuff, But it's like trying to explain this. Is like, dude, you do understand that a theocracy, there's no penalty. All right, in America, there's not a penalty for not believing in Jesus. All right, we don't have a state that makes it to where you have to believe in Jesus. So, understanding that the founding fathers, some were deists, sure, some were, God-fearing men, Christian men, and telling us that we would be a theocracy for understanding that our rights come from God, that's not a theocracy, man. We just understand that the moral law, that is the eternal moral law, comes from somewhere. It doesn't come from us. We can't make that law. How far back are you looking to go to see who established that law? You're going to end up at God. So leave it to God to be the author of those laws, and we understand that, and we maintain that. So in Sharia, sure, there's going to be penalties. Not here, for understanding where our rights come from. So I don't know, these people are lifted up as knowing.
Yep.
It's like that's troubling.
Yes, it is.
That's the kind of stuff that's troubling. So what else did he put? In response, the senator expressed agreement with the notion that our founding fathers, that all people are endowed by their creator. It says the, but I think it's supposed to really say their creator, because the thing is no matter what, man, it puts, as far as I know, it's there. Because, not so much in the sense of whomever you think the creator is, and it's carefully worded that way, because once again, it's to avoid theocracy. We're not meant to be a theocracy. God wouldn't want it that way anyway. All right, the Lord wants us to come to Him by free will choice.
Yeah.
So it could be in a sense of their creator, whoever you want to think that He is. You're free to think that. All right, or it's the intent of their creator. It's like it or not, our collective creator, all of us. That's God, as spoken of in the Bible, not in any other doctrine. All right, so maybe it could be that, maybe that's the intent of that statement. Of the founding fathers, all people are endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. At the same time, he detailed how his experience working along Catholic missionaries in a military dictatorship of the Honduras taught him that rights are essentially meaningless unless they are protected by law. What the crap are you talking about? Dang, dude. Yes, law has to be upheld. Yeah, I mean, are you trying to argue that we don't want to say that laws come from God because, they're meaningless Okay. Hey, Kaine, let me explain something to you, man. Let me explain something to you. Let's say you want to write the laws. You write the law, Kaine. You be the law writer. Hey, guess what, man? Those laws that you write would have to be protected. Yeah. Those laws would have to be upheld, man. You'd have to have enforcement to get out there and uphold the laws that you write.
Yep.
So you ain't getting away from the law needing to be enforced, dude. Even with God writing the law still has to be protected. The law still has to be enforced. All right? What the crap kind of philosophy is this where he's coming from?
Very strange.
Am I don't know, am I too much of a simpleton to understand his nuance? Am I being overly basic here? You know, maybe, I mean, maybe the guy's just too profound for me and I'm just not getting it.
The thing I don't understand is, did you read this? I wasn't sure if you did or not. Kaine listed the rights to vote, trial by jury, freedom of the press, bear arms, due process, assembly, and not to be subject to cruel and unusual punishments as examples of rights explicitly protected in the Constitution that are not mentioned in the Bible.
Dude, wow. Have you not read the dialogue between Jethro and Moses? Jethro himself is like, look, man, you're going to have a democratic process. You're going to elect people to be governors over tens, 100, 50s and hundreds. Okay, this is a democratic process, if you will. But it is a democratic process to choose those to uphold the rule of law.
Right.
So this is Republican. All right, it's a republic. You have a representative. Moses is your representative.
Yes.
All right, he's appointing representatives. And their highest representative is God himself, who's appointed Moses to be a representative, Moses and Aaron. Okay, and they're going to elect people and they're going to distribute these powers. So what are you talking about, man? So the people are going to have a say in this. A trial by jury? What are you talking about, man? So when it has when you have the assembly,
right?
What do you think the ecclesia is? Did you not read where Paul himself says, man, do you not know that we will judge the angels? We are, as the body of Christ, we are his jury. In his priesthood, we are his jury. So the Bible speaks of these things.
Yeah.
The Bible speaks of it's like, why? Because you do not like it? Because Paul says, why do you go to the godless to govern over your affairs? Do you not like that? But but Paul says, man, we're supposed to have a Christian body of arbitration. But I guess you don't like that. That's not official enough for you. That the ecclesia, hey, man, you're supposed to be a Catholic. You're supposed to understand these things. You're supposed to understand the mass, the body of Christ, who is supposed to be a body of governing affairs amongst ourselves. That should be able to govern ourselves and arbitrate between ourselves before we have to take it to the state.
Yep.
But don't tell me that the Bible doesn't talk about these things, because yes, it does. Freedom of the press. Dude, do you not know what the word angel means? Angel, it means messenger. We're supposed to report.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have the freedom to get out there and speak truth. That's outlet. That's like the biggest. Did you happen to notice that the Bible is called a testament? Where you get off, man? The bare arms? Oh, did you not catch that part? Sell your cloak and buy a sword. Did you happen to notice that the Lord's disciples were armed? Jesus didn't tell Peter to put his sword down. He told him to put it away.
Yeah.
Big difference. It ain't like Jesus didn't know that Peter was going to strike now, because he knew. He wanted them to know his skill level. All right? Y'all remember us talking about this, man? In Aikido, the Japanese have a martial art called Aikido. It's the art of sword drawing, which means that when he pulls that sword from the scabbard, his opponent's going to lose something. Just by him pulling it, bam! You know, it's like you might lose your hand, you might lose your bowels, right? Depending on the stroke of which way he pulls that thing out, you know, turns his scabbard a certain way and how he's going to execute that stroke. Peter had skills like that. You gonna target somebody's ear and in one stroke pull it and cut that thing off? And you want to act like the Bible doesn't talk about the right to bear arms? Jesus' disciples were armed and they was ready to get into a knife fight, baby. You know? They're going to, did you happen to notice that the Lord would send Israel out on scorched earth campaigns? You know, I mean, I guess maybe to you that's only speaking in terms of military engagements and stuff like that. But even to police the other Israelites, when they really got out of line, Moses, tell your homeboys to strap up, man. I want you to go back and forth. And anybody who gave into this nonsense, put them to the sword.
Yeah.
All right. I guess, you know, that was a form of martial law that when the Lord sent Moses and his homies to go out there and police the area, you know, and cut down those who would just get over this to full on perversion. But this idea of in terms of bearing arms, yeah, the Bible speaks to these things, man. Due process, you know, once again, you have to bring these concerns to the priest. You got to bring these concerns to Moses. It's not like, oh, I don't like what you did, and whether the word talks about witnesses. There's a protocol for witnesses, how these things are going to be heard. Man, Kaine, you don't even understand. You're talking about how these things aren't mentioned in the Constitution. The Word of God itself is a Constitution, dude. That's what it is. It is our ultimate law book. Yeah. Okay, it is our ultimate charter. And you trying to say that you trying to say that these things are mentioned in the Constitution? So once again, and it, due process. Yeah, there's due process, man. There's going to be due process. Assembly. Once again, man. What do you think? What do you think the church is? The ecclesia, man. That is the assembly.
So blind.
You know, and your right to assemble to express your grievances. Do we have the right to do that? That's outlined in the Word of God. You know, we have the right to get out there and report. We have the right to get out there and testify. We have the right to point out what the grievances is that's going on in the world. We have the right to do that. That's spelled out. As a matter of fact, the Lord tells us to go do it. That's a commission. Go. Tell the truth. Call out sin where you see it. Express your grievances where you need to. Make peace if it's possible. Sometimes it ain't. You know, not to be subject to, and we already addressed, not to be subject to cruelty. The Lord tells you, even concerning if you have slaves, people who have made themselves your bondservants and stuff like that, do not treat them harshly.
Right.
You know, there's ordinances for those things, and where you guys try to look for things where it says this. What you guys are missing is the pictures of Christ in it. You know, they like to bring up you can strike your slave and the slave doesn't get up on the third day and all that sort of stuff. It's like, You don't see the profile of Christ in it? Okay. You're reading it wrong. All right. And that's not an ordinance for everybody. That was for Israel. That's for Israel concerning their relationship with their slaves for a particular reason, because Israel is supposed to be the walking, talking profile of Christ itself, or when he shows up, what he's going to do and what's going to happen to him. That's not for everybody. That's for Israel for a particular reason. Okay. But at any rate, so he's talking about in the Constitution that are not mentioned in the Bible or other sacred texts, man, you're going to put the Bible on the same field, on the same level as other doctrines. Wow, man. You know, this is the kind of stuff that leads to oppression, dude.
Yes.
That right there, that's the bait. That's oppression fuel. That's what that is. He cited the legality of slavery until the passage, man. We just talked about it, man. The Bible does not conduct, in the Bible, slavery is illegal. Forced slavery is illegal.
Yeah, he goes on to say in this article, well, there was slavery too, so the Bible's really not dependable for, how our laws should be written.
Man, everybody will take liberties with any law, dude.
Yeah.
The people, you do it with, y'all do it with the Constitution all the time.
Yep.
Interpret it however you want to. Bible's the same way. People going to interpret it however they want. When but the thing is, the word of God, he tells you, don't take my name in vain. Don't be twisting up my word.
Yeah.
If you look at my word, you will see I've made it very explicit. Forced slavery is illegal and punishable by death. All right. The conditions for slavery concerning whatever that that these people think is the Bible condoning slavery is a mutual exchange. All right. There's an agreement to it. Bond serving, even if y'all want to call it chattel slavery and whichever, where you're inheriting slaves and whatnot. Those things, y'all, once again, this is an ordinance for Israel. That kind of slavery is a picture of Christ. Like, say, for instance, they want to talk about, well, if a slave, he's enslaved and he wants to marry his master's daughter, he has to be a slave for life and it kills it. Y'all, that's a picture of Christ. Okay? Christ being the master himself. And if you want to be married into who belongs, like, so say, for instance, there's a woman, she's a believer, she believes in Christ, she has given herself to Christ. You want to be with her. Well, the cost of that is coming to Christ too. You're gonna belong to Christ too, and your kids also. As for me and my house, we're gonna serve the Lord. That's what that is, a picture of that. Because, hey, being a slave to Christ is being among the most freest entities in the universe. You are better off being a slave of Christ than to being a king of the earth. Now, the king of the earth, you have your reward. That's temporary.
Yeah.
Being a slave of Christ, you're going to have it better off than a king permanently.
Yeah.
All right, the Lord can work that out. I would rather be a slave for Christ than a king of the earth. All right. So, but we're talking about bond service and people who owe a debt. I can't pay this debt off. All right. So I'm going to be indentured to you for a term. All right. That's a mutual agreement. That's not being forced into slavery. All right. Or slavery may come in the form of a person has committed a crime. And if this person wants to talk about the Constitution, hey, guess what? Even slavery is in the Constitution through due process. You commit a crime, you could be subject to forced labor, like slave labor. All right. Yeah. So you want to say that, these things that are, they're not spoken about in the Bible, but the Constitution, it makes even the Constitution, there's a form of slavery in it. You commit a crime, you can't be made a slave. You can't be made to do forced labor. But if you commit a crime and by due process and you're convicted, yes, you can be subject to forced labor. Hard labor. Okay. So, and this person talked about, it took until the 13th Amendment. Man, listen, folks, slavery was already illegal before that. The Constitution had already made it very clear. Okay, the Constitution made it clear in upholding what was spelled out in the Declaration of Independence. It's unfortunate, but see, here's the problem, Kaine. You have people who don't respect. Hey, you talk about the law being protected. Yeah, it would have to be protected from people like from your party, the Democrats. They wanted slavery to stay legal.
Absolutely.
That's your party. They didn't respect what the Constitution said, so they made their own. They made the Constitution of the Confederate States that made provisions for enslavement of the Negro. Specific wording. All right? Because they did not respect that you couldn't just go enslave people. So it was already the proof that the Constitution never made slavery legal. And these people were basing the Constitution on what the Bible said. The Bible does not condone slavery. You can't just enslave people. Where does that ordinance come from? That comes from God himself. Because here's the thing, man. And left in the hands of man will look for a reason. By his own design, will look for a reason to be able to put somebody, to make somebody bear whatever he thinks he's entitled to.
Oh, yeah. Man
gonna do that. We got to have something to base it on to curb us from that. And that's where the word of God comes in. God's like, no, you don't be enslaving people. You can't force slavery on the people. So we base it on that. You know, the Constitution does not make provisions for forced slavery. You Democrats are the ones that made a charter that made provisions for that. Y'all did that. So, anyway, this and when it comes to Constitution as an example of how natural right to freedom was not protected wow, man, I can't stand that term. Natural rights. Let me see if okay. He cited that the legality of slavery until the passage of the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution as an example of how a natural right to freedom was not protected in the U.S. Constitution until slavery became illegal. Man, there's no such thing as natural rights. Okay, there's no such thing. Nature doesn't.
Calling it natural rights. What is that?
Yeah, it's a lazy way to say. I guess it's a lazy way of saying inherent rights. You know.
But they don't come from God.
But they don't come. They don't come from God. Okay, listen. Natural. There's no such thing as that. Nature doesn't recognize rights, dude.
Right.
All right. Nature doesn't recognize morality. It does not recognize rights. It is not a thinking entity. God didn't design. He didn't make the facility of nature to think. Right. And discern, because that would make nature a god now, wouldn't it?
Yes.
All right? Nature wasn't made to be a god. Nature is a facility of God that he designed, right? To maintain the laws and the elements that are in the physical universe. All right? So natural rights, really no such thing. Now, if you want to say inherent rights, that's fine, but where does this... Where did we inherit that from? The first human being. Okay, the first human being. I guess did we inherit that? How did that first human being get their rights? You know, I mean, God is the first policy writer. And I mean, I get it. Y'all, I guess maybe according to you, because heck, even in Catholicism, a lot of Christians. You know, try to mingle evolution.
Oh, definitely.
Into their faith. You can't serve two masters, y'all. That's mixing fabrics. You can't do that.
Tell Christian schools that.
I know, right? I mean, you can if you want to, but to really call yourself a Christian while you're mingling that, while you're mixing that fabric. Yeah. You know, and you want how far back you want to go with that? I think even Darwin himself. Help me out if y'all know I've mentioned this before. And I'm still trying. I'm too uninterested to go and read, to read it again, But I've caught wind of it. Basically Darwin had a conflict with his own philosophy. How can evolution render a thinking organism if coming from something that had no thought? How are you how can you pull that together?
Darwin's dilemma.
Darwin's dilemma, y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One of them.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the human creation, y'all. What makes us different from all other organisms is that we can comprehend policy. You know what I'm saying? We can make a charter of it. We can comprehend it. We can discuss it. We can set boundaries and talk about ramifications and rewards of it. Why? Because we're made in the image of the law. We were made to automatically have the capacity to comprehend law. See, organisms, they don't have that. Organisms have an instinct. They have a sense of being territorial. They're covetous. You may see some things in nature where they may seem a little bit more sophisticated about their boundaries between each other and stuff like that. But once again, y'all, that's instinct. There's a limit. They have a limit to where they can operate with those things. Can they really contemplate it? Do they really understand the nuances of it?
Right.
No, they're only operating on an instinct. But man is unique in this. This is something that evolved, like we talk about with Darwin's dilemma. Tongue twister. Darwin's dilemma. How can you evolve to that? You're not gonna. It's observable. We've seen that animals are not going to evolve to that. They're just not. You can get more sophisticated on how you're gonna train an animal and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
You know, but animals ain't gonna train themselves beyond it for what we can do. You know, you're not gonna train an animal to be able to really comprehend legalities that we do. How is it that we have the capacity to do that? Because we were made in the image of the law. So, this person right here, thinking that, I don't know, somehow it's dangerous for God to be the one who institute these kind of things.
Yeah.
No, man, the way you think is dangerous. Because what can you track it back to? You can't. Y'all can't even get it straight how far back this goes. What? 10,000 years?
Right.
50,000? 100,000 years? I don't know. Maybe how far y'all can't even get that straight.
Yeah.
So at what point do these laws, crystallize, man, and really come into focus? Who does that? Whatever, man. I'm wasting my time asking this person these questions. Person who doesn't even read them.
What's scary is he's still a senator.
Yeah. And that's the scary part because people still vote for this.
Yep. Supposedly red state.
Oh, man. Let's see. NIH promises to end 17 research projects using aborted human fetal tissue. Y'all, my issue with this is, so you're gonna stop these research projects. I don't even need to open this up. I'm just gonna go with this question right. Unless there was something in there that you wanted to single out. But let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick. For these people who are who are pro-abortion, and you think that we need this kind of stuff for research, why is it that you rely on human fetal tissue when you claim that an unborn kid isn't human? Yeah, I mean that don't make no dang sense. Yep. So why don't you guys are all about preserving turtles and other endangered species or eggs or whichever, as if they're more important than humans. Well, if they're that precious and really significant, maybe they're more important because they're able to do something more than what human fetal tissue can do. So why not use those? Why is it that human fetal tissue is expendable, is disposable, but at the same time so valuable that you need it for your research concerning other things that y'all really want to do to humans? But y'all want to make up some new poison to put into people?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, all of a sudden now the fetus is human.
Yeah. Very, very good point. Under the previous Trump administration, we had Francis Collins. He was the bigwig. He called himself a Christian too. And he was very much for using aborted fetal tissue in these grants. These grants we've reported on this. They go to the colleges in America, different colleges, so that they can use aborted fetal tissue in their research. And under Trump, his first administration, he put strict regulations and an ethics board over the use of aborted fetal tissue. Didn't stop it, but just put a regulations board. This time, Jay Bhattacharya, who is head of NIH, and RFK, they're highly against it, and they are not renewing any of these grants. They're saying, we're done.
All right.
Which is amazing. So none of these colleges in America are going to, supposedly, hopefully, if we can believe all these people, none of these colleges are going to get these research grants receiving human fetal tissue.
Maranatha.
Yes.
You know, that's really what it comes down
But
to.
that's amazing, huh?
Yeah,
None
yeah.
of these colleges will be receiving any more human fetal tissue.
Yes. I mean, it's about time. And, you know, I'm glad that he's making inroads. Thank God that he's making these inroads
Yeah.
with these sort of things.
And the NIH won't be using it either, incidentally. That this is what they're saying. So.
I mean,
we'll
because,
see.
you know, you got people, their philosophy is that, well, at least now the aborted fetus, its life will have meaning.
Oh, I've heard that
Oh, man.
so many times. Yeah.
Well, I guess the meaning of it is to justify killing more unborn kids.
Yep.
Okay. That's really kind of like the feedback loop of what that really turns out to be.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but making the aborted fetal tissue, these are some of the things that we do with aborted fetal tissue in America. We make it into makeup, cosmetic creams. We use the taste buds of aborted fetal tissue in food, making food, to find that bliss point that makes Doritos so delicious. They use aborted fetal taste buds in that. I mean, is that really like, you know, dignifying the aborted baby?
It is not, and I don't know. I don't see how that's so much more effective than just having a little focus group come in there and just bust out with a bag of
Right?
Doritos. And
Well, they do that too.
shouldn't that be enough?
It should be enough, yeah.
Let's see. Let's go out on this one. Democrat senator.
Another Democrat senator. As if you didn't have any hope left after Tim Kaine. Now we're just going to crush all hope for
Yeah, and y'all can check out the video. Blast FBI director for requiring single pull-up for women because women have physiological differences. Well, you know what? I think Ketanji Jackson might want to have a word with
Right?
With this senator.
Yeah.
How dare you define a difference between men and women? So now I don't know. One of the things that came to mind, you know, I think once y'all see the video, it's going to come to your mind too. It's like, well, hey, lady, thank you. Thank you for making an argument
Right.
for us that there's a difference. But at the same time, you got Cash basically saying, no, they should be able to do the same thing. It's like, doesn't it make an argument? Well, see, women can compete in men's sports and men can compete in women because, hey, they should be able to do the same thing, right?
Yep.
But no, it doesn't. That don't work. It doesn't work. So yeah, this woman is. I think once she's making the case, that yeah, thank you so much
Right.
for proving our point that there is a difference between men and women, and I reckon.
Red Force says Patel ain't no biologist.
You ain't no biologist, Patel. You just need to be quiet. Anyway, go FBI something. But how is it you gonna have this woman say that? Isn't this like insulting? Didn't you just insult a bunch of women?
Yep, pretty sure.
You insulted women in saying that they can't even do a single pull-up.
Yeah, this test it's a certain kind of pull-up, which I don't know what that is, but it's one of the pull-ups. And Patel is like, because she can't even string two words together, hardly. This is what Maisie Hirono from Hawaii. We've seen her before. She can't even hardly communicate. She's upset that Kash Patel wants one pull-up. And he's like, yes, we want one pull-up. If you can't even do one pull-up, I can't trust you to chase a bad guy down and handcuff him.
Yeah, look, lady, just because you may not be able to do one pull-up,
Oh yeah, she definitely can't.
don't project that on the other women. There's women
Right?
out there who, I mean, you know, who are very physically fit. And for you to say that, you know, this is going to be, I mean, she's probably, you know, advocating for a lot of women who probably complain to her
Oh sure.
because
yeah.
they feel entitled to be, you know, in the FBI.
They want their special standards.
Yeah.
The standards lowered for them.
Yes. You know, I mean, even though you could do whatever a man can do in heels and Iron Woman,
Right.
Hear Me Roar and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But y'all
Girl
want
bosses.
Yeah, you boss, boss ladies, but you want standards lowered. Wow. Hey, we're kind of wasting our time trying to reason this out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I guess that's the thing about it for me, man. I'm so burnt out on trying to reason. I'm glad. I mean, in a way, it's like we talk about it basically because we want to know that we're not crazy.
Right.
At least y'all, if y'all listen and be like, okay, yeah, man, I feel you. I'm on your freak. Okay, we're not crazy, man. We're not the only people who are thinking this. I guess it's nice for that. But it's like, man, we got a whole bunch of people out there where it's like this reasoning just falls on the floor. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, dang. And it's frustrating, y'all, because I'm like, man, this way doesn't really move at the rate that it should move. And I wish, you know, that we could do it in a different way. I know how I would do it, just to get the support to do it, and you know, and of course, you know, we're hidden, you know, to be able to gain the support. Sorry to start butt hurting about this again, man, but I'm just saying, look how obvious certain things are. You know, if you're halfway well adjusted, man, you should be able to pick up on these things.
Yeah.
But you got people who are given over to this ridiculousness. And when I say, folks, that you know, because you've heard me say 1,000 times, y'all, you have to communicate with them in a language that they understand. The language that they understand is imagination. All right? You can't reason is, obviously these people are not reasonable. You can't reason with them. They're not there. They're not wired for that.
Right.
All right? Their imagination is what they're given over to. They imagine, y'all, look. They imagine it is gender nonsense in terms of what's your property.
Yep.
In terms of what's human and what's not. They're just giving over to their imagination about it. And I'm saying we got to communicate there. I'll give a prime example. See, Republicans, you got Democrats who are giving over to this imagination that white people are racist, and they stoke that. That's imagination land. All right? America doesn't have a racism problem the way that they say that they do. America does have a racism problem. It really does.
Yeah.
Okay? But not the way the Democrats play it out to be. But see, here's the thing. This is what I mean. And I'm not talking about just being creative. That's another big thing that Republicans are falling way short on is using creativity. But this is here's an example, y'all. I'm going to give you all an example of what I mean by communicating with them according to their imaginations instead of trying to reason with them first. You're not gonna get there. The Democrats are they imagine, they want other people to be given over to this imagination concerning racism. Freaking go with it.
Yes.
Connect with them according to their imaginations. Don't try to reason with them with it first. That connection is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Connect with their imaginations. Agree with them. You're like, oh, heck yeah, dude. Yeah, racism is really bad. There is totally systemic racism. I agree with you. What's happening to black folks, man, it's a crying shame. There is the prison industrial complex and you know, how black people are not hired at the same rate, and how black people are not able to get the education and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Hollywood is racist. Agree with all of it.
Cornered into ghettos.
Yeah, exactly. You know, agree with all that sort of stuff. Go ahead and pander to them. Play to their imaginations. Right? And once you've made that connection, now you can start reasoning with them. Right? So let's talk about the systemic racism, and then the things like the prison industrial complex. All black people are just getting locked up and put in slave labor. You know? A lot of activist judges out there, ain't there? Right? A lot of them judges are Democrats. In these cities, you know, these are blue cities. Democrat run. You got Democrat mayors, right? You got legions of liberal lawyers. Who you think is putting these people in these prisons? Well, that's all you liberals. You know? You want to talk about systemic racism? You notice that black folks are only about 13% of the population?
Still.
Only about 13% of the population. And one of the big ways that they're keeping them there is through abortion. And you might notice that there's a lot of abortion clinics targeted in black neighborhoods, black communities. Who do you think put them there? Republicans didn't put them there. Democrats did. Oh, there's definitely systemic racism. You know? So it's like, it's agree. Play to their imaginations, but bring their imaginations into the focus of reason, right? Say, you wanna make like racism is such a big problem? I'm with you. It is. But make sure that you target, that you're firing that accusation in the right place. You see, but see, Republicans don't do that. Instead, they want to go, there's no systemic racism, there's no white supremacy, and all that sort of stuff. And black people are just making that up and whatever.
They're just butt hurting.
Yeah, they're just making that sort of stuff up. And well, as I've said 1,000 times, if you want to say that there's none of those, then Democrats, you've absolved Democrats of everything. Democrats ain't got nothing to be guilty of. And Democrats have taken all that guilt and they put it on the Republican Party because you got a lot of people out there who know that racism is a real thing. And it looks apparent that Republicans are willing to take the blame for it because there ain't nobody else who will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not who will. There's nobody else to because as far as the Republicans are concerned, it doesn't exist.
Right.
So if it doesn't exist, that means the Democrats have never done it. And so Democrats can just continue to go ahead and get away with it.
Yeah.
Making these policies that arrest the development of the black community and just say it's the Republicans that are doing it.
Yeah.
Republicans set themselves up for this over and over and over again. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. You got to communicate. You got to connect with their imagination.
Yeah, it's like no school, Republicans are always for school vouchers for black kids. But then they say, but there's no racism. Well, then why are you for vouchers if there's no freaking racism?
Come on now.
If there's no systemic racism, that is systemic racism when you keep black kids in crumbling schools.
Yeah. So you see how they just fight. They can't even stay solid with their own reasoning.
Right.
They're not even solid with their own reasoning, but yet they think that they can go and just browbeat Democrats and get them to understand by reasoning with them. It ain't gonna work. How long does this have to go on to realize it doesn't work? When Democrats throw these things out there, use it against them. Instead of thinking that you're gonna pull out your mighty hammer of intellect and no. Right? You gonna miss their head every time because you're swinging at their head when their head is tucked in there behind. You don't know what it's like you don't really know Democrats to really make you can't hit what you can't see. You don't understand them.
Yeah.
And this is why Democrats keep on doing the damage that they do. So anyway, I mean, we're looking at the tried and true failure of the mainstream Republican approach to these things, and it's a tried and true failure. But they keep on doing it, you know. But you know, I'm trying to say this thing was that no, shut up, Zo. You just stay in your little exiled corner, and whatever. You know what I've been saying hasn't been tried. So you can't prove that it doesn't work.
Yes.
But we've been watching the mainstream method, and things are just getting worse. So anyway, that's my take on it. I hope I said something, you know, that resonates or is something useful for y'all. So, bronzeserpentmedia.com, folks. If you're new and you're catching the Zo Loft for the first time, dang it, I hope you come on over to bronzeserpentmedia.com and become a member. It's free. It ain't going to cost you nothing. I ain't going to be spamming you and all that sort of stuff. I ain't going to sell your information and all that. You know, I just may ask you to, you know, buy one of these sexy mugs. You ain't got no more. I'm still sipping on it. That's how fly this mug is, man. I've been done with my drink for a while. I'm still like, you know, just to be able to put it to my lips.
Wow.
That's how fly these mugs are. You know, let people know that you know what time it is. You know where the Head Right Hangout is, man.
Even the drops taste better.
That's right. Even the drops. You know, and thank you guys so much, you know, who keep that, you know, throwing that buck in the bucket, keep the bros on the go. We're trying to build there. We're trying to, y'all.
Yes.
And, you know, hopefully I may have some good news for y'all. And praise be to God, you know, it may take a little while. It may take a little while, but you know, he makes good on when I say, man, I may have some good news for y'all. But we end up being able to say, hey, it came through, right? Sometimes and so hopefully, you know, if I say it again, it'll come through. Hopefully we'll know in a little bit. But, you know, that being said, y'all have a groovy rest of your evening. BronzeSerpentMedia.com, and we will talk again soon. Bye.